2026 is coming faster than we think, and the truth is this: nothing changes until we change. Most people wait for life to magically shift, for circumstances to get better, for someone to hand them the results they want. But real transformation happens when we take ownership, when we decide that this year things are going to be different. If you want 2026 to be the year everything turns around, here are the 10 things that must be done before we get there. Letting go of what is holding you back is one of the most difficult steps in creating real change, because we often stay attached to what feels familiar even when it is hurting us. We hold on to habits, routines, people, and beliefs, not because they help us grow, but because they are known, predictable, and comfortable. It's human nature to cling to what we understand, even when that very thing is the reason we are stuck. Before 2026 arrives, this has to change. Nothing new can enter a life that is still full of what no longer belongs. We cannot create space for progress while we are still holding space for things that only pull us backward. Letting go is not always about dramatic endings or walking away from everything overnight. Sometimes it is as simple as admitting the truth: this isn't working anymore. Sometimes it is recognizing the emotional weight you've been carrying and realizing it has been slowing you down more than you ever noticed. When we stay attached to something that is holding us back, we begin to shape our lives around it. Our decisions, our confidence, our momentum, and even our identity become influenced by something that no longer deserves that power. If you want real change before 2026, you must be willing to step back and evaluate what has been costing you more than it's been contributing. The hardest part is that the things holding us back aren't always bad things. It might be a goal that used to make sense but no longer aligns with who you are. It might be a relationship that once supported you but now keeps you playing small. It might be a habit that once helped you cope but now prevents you from growing. We hesitate to release these things because we remember how they once served us. But growth means acknowledging that not everything is meant to travel with us into every season of life. Some things are temporary teachers, lessons disguised as comfort, and keeping them past their expiration date turns them into limitations instead of guidance. Even emotionally, letting go takes courage because it forces us to confront ourselves. We have to face the fear of the unknown, the fear of being alone in the process, the fear that maybe letting go means starting from zero. But starting from zero is still starting. Staying stuck is not. Life doesn't reward the person who stays in the same place out of fear. It rewards the person who is willing to climb even when the next step isn't visible yet. The most painful decisions often become the most powerful ones because they are the ones that push us to redefine who we are and what we truly want from the future. One of the best ways to let go is to ask one simple question. If I keep this in my life for the next 5 years, where will I end up? That question exposes the truth quickly. If something leads to frustration, stagnation, exhaustion, or regret, then it has already shown you that it is not aligned with your growth. Sometimes clarity doesn't come from thinking, it comes from imagining the long-term cost. We grow when we realize that we don't have to wait for disaster to decide something isn't right for us. We can choose progress before pain forces us to choose. Letting go is not a sign of weakness. It is a declaration of self-respect. It means you are choosing the future you want over the comfort you know. It means you are willing to trade temporary security for long-term growth. It means you are no longer allowing fear to negotiate your potential. Before 2026 arrives, release what has been holding you in place. Release the habits that drain you, the relationships that shrink you, the beliefs that limit you, and the excuses that delay you. When you free yourself from what weighs you down, you finally discover how powerful you can be when you are no longer carrying what was never meant to stay. Setting a vision so clear you can't avoid it is one of the most powerful steps you can take toward real change. Most people drift through life without a true picture of where they want to go, and as a result, they settle for what comes easiest. When you don't define the life you want, the world defines it for you. A clear vision is more than a goal. It's a vivid image of the person you want to become, the life you want to live, and the impact you want to create. Without that clarity, you will constantly be negotiating with your circumstances instead of shaping them. If you want 2026 to be different, the first thing you must do is see it before it exists. A strong vision acts like a magnet, pulling you toward the future you are determined to create. It guides your decisions, your focus, and even the energy you put into your daily actions. When the vision is vivid, the distractions shrink, the excuses fade, and the things that don't serve your progress become easy to ignore. Most people wait for external motivation to push them, but a compelling vision creates internal urgency. It is the engine that keeps you moving even when you don't feel like it, because you can feel the pull of your own future, and that pull becomes irresistible. To make a vision effective, it has to be specific and emotional. It's not enough to say, "I want to be successful," or "I want to be happy." You need to see it, feel it, and believe it as though it's already real. What does success look like? How does it feel to wake up every day living that life? Who are you when you've achieved it? The clarity in your answers transforms abstract dreams into actionable targets. The more sensory detail you can attach to your vision, the harder it is to ignore, because your brain starts treating it like something real, not just a wish. This is how ordinary people break the cycle of waiting and start taking deliberate, unstoppable action. One of the biggest mistakes people make is confusing goals with visions. A goal is something you want to achieve. A vision is who you want to become. Goals are temporary, measurable, and often limited. Visions are enduring, transformative, and they shape every area of your life. When you focus on vision over goals, setbacks don't stop you. They redirect you. When you face resistance, you keep moving because your identity is tied to the outcome. A vision is not negotiable. It becomes a non-negotiable blueprint for your life, and anything that doesn't align with it naturally falls away. Your environment must reflect your vision if you truly want it to take root. When your surroundings, your routines, and your connections are aligned with the future you see, your vision becomes inevitable. It's impossible to pursue clarity in a cluttered space or in a life filled with distractions that don't serve you. Every habit, every conversation, every commitment should either feed your vision or be removed. The clearer your vision, the easier it is to make these decisions, because every choice can be measured against whether it moves you closer or keeps you stuck. Finally, clarity in vision breeds confidence. When you know where you are going and can see it in your mind as if it already exists, indecision fades, fear loses power, and procrastination becomes meaningless. The universe starts responding differently to you when you show up as someone who knows what they want and refuses to settle for less. Before 2026 arrives, create a vision so strong that it cannot be ignored, so real that it pulls every action you take into alignment with it. When your future is this clear, the path to transformation is no longer a question. It's a commitment that becomes unstoppable. Auditing your environment and connections is one of the most overlooked steps in creating real change. Yet it is absolutely critical if you want 2026 to look different. Most people blame themselves, blame circumstances, or wait for luck. But the truth is that your surroundings quietly shape every thought, every decision, and every result. Who you spend time with, the energy you absorb, the habits you witness every day, they are all silently steering the course of your life. If you want transformation, you have to examine your inner circle and your external environment with brutal honesty, because what doesn't serve you will continue to hold you back if you allow it. Your environment is more than just the physical space you occupy. It is the energy you allow into your life. It's the people you listen to, the content you consume, the routines you follow, and even the emotions you tolerate. Every day, you are exposed to forces that either lift you up or pull you down. Most of these forces are subtle, almost invisible, but they accumulate over time. If you spend hours with people who doubt, complain, or settle, you will begin to doubt, complain, and settle too, even if you don't notice it. To create real change, you must identify what is supportive and what is toxic, and then take decisive action to adjust your exposure accordingly. Connections are powerful, but they can also be dangerous if they are misaligned with your growth. Some relationships are meant to teach you lessons, but some keep you stuck in patterns that no longer serve you. It's not always about cutting people off. Sometimes it's about redefining boundaries, limiting influence, or investing more time with those who challenge and inspire you. The right relationships act like a wind at your back, propelling you forward. The wrong ones act like anchors, holding you in place while the world keeps moving. Before 2026, you need to choose the people who will celebrate your progress, challenge your excuses, and encourage your highest potential. Auditing your environment also means auditing your daily routines. Habits are the invisible architecture of your life, and they are shaped by the environment you create. The physical, mental, and emotional spaces you occupy every day dictate whether you move closer to your goals or further away. Even small things like clutter on your desk, the shows you watch, or the conversations you engage in have a cumulative effect. Change doesn't happen in chaos. It happens in intentional spaces designed to encourage growth. Take time to remove distractions, simplify, and align your daily life with the future you are building. One of the hardest parts of this audit is facing discomfort. People don't like confronting the fact that some connections, habits, or surroundings are holding them back. It can feel awkward, sad, or even selfish to remove someone or something from your life. But real growth requires courage. The discomfort is temporary, the impact is permanent. By intentionally curating your environment, you are sending a message to yourself and the world. You are committed to a higher standard, and you are no longer willing to allow stagnation to dictate your path. The clarity this creates is powerful. It eliminates wasted energy and opens the door for opportunities you could not see before. Finally, auditing your environment and connections is about creating momentum. When the people, places, and routines around you support your vision, you no longer rely on willpower alone to keep moving forward. Progress becomes easier because your surroundings are aligned with your goals. Energy that was once drained by negativity, distraction, and misalignment is now redirected toward growth, action, and results. Before 2026, take the time to examine where you are spending your energy and who is influencing it. Remove what doesn't serve you, amplify what does, and design a space, both physical and mental, where your future cannot help but unfold. When this is done, change stops being a dream and starts becoming inevitable. Building discipline instead of waiting for motivation is one of the most powerful decisions you can make before 2026. Most people think motivation is the key to change, but motivation is fleeting, unpredictable, and unreliable. It comes in bursts, sometimes when you least need it, and disappears exactly when you need it most. Discipline, on the other hand, is consistent, measurable, and unstoppable. It's what allows you to show up day after day, even when you don't feel like it, and it is the engine that converts intention into results. If you want real change, you cannot rely on temporary feelings. You must develop habits and systems that carry you forward regardless of your mood. Discipline is built through action, not inspiration. It grows each time you do what you said you would do, even when it's hard. It grows each time you resist short-term comfort for long-term gain. It grows each time you choose consistency over convenience. People often underestimate the power of small, repeated actions, but these are the actions that compound into massive results over time. Motivation may get you started, but discipline keeps you moving. Before 2026, your success will not be determined by how inspired you feel in a single moment, but by how consistent you can be over months and years. A key part of building discipline is understanding the difference between effort and results. Effort alone doesn't guarantee success, but without consistent effort, results are impossible. Discipline is about committing to the process even when results are delayed. Most people give up because they expect quick wins or instant gratification, and when those don't come, they lose faith. Real transformation requires patience, resilience, and a willingness to push through discomfort. The disciplined person understands that every small action is a deposit into a future they cannot yet see, and that compounding effect eventually produces extraordinary results. Discipline is not about punishing yourself or eliminating joy. It's about designing a life that naturally produces results. It's about creating habits, routines, and systems that reduce decision fatigue and eliminate reliance on motivation. The disciplined person structures their environment, sets clear priorities, and follows processes that make good choices automatic. Over time, discipline becomes a part of identity. You don't try to be disciplined. You become disciplined because your life is organized around what matters most. The world responds differently to people who show up consistently. They gain respect, opportunities, and momentum that others simply never experience. Another powerful aspect of discipline is that it builds confidence. Every time you follow through on your commitments, you reinforce your belief in your ability to achieve. Motivation may come and go, but the proof of your discipline is visible in your progress. You begin to trust yourself because your actions are aligned with your intentions. You no longer need permission or external validation to move forward. You simply follow the plan you have set and trust the process. Before 2026, cultivating this self-trust will allow you to tackle challenges with courage and make decisions with clarity. Finally, building discipline transforms every area of life. It doesn't just help you meet goals, it changes how you think, how you act, and how the world responds to you. Discipline compounds. The habits you form in one area bleed into other areas. The routines you establish for growth create a ripple effect that touches relationships, finances, health, and personal development. If you want 2026 to be the year you finally experience real change, stop waiting for motivation to strike. Build discipline, commit to consistency, and create systems that carry you forward even when the feeling isn't there. In doing so, you will discover that the power to transform your life was always in your hands. It just needed structure and commitment to be unleashed. Taking responsibility for everything you can control is the single most empowering step toward real change. Most people spend their lives blaming circumstances, other people, or luck for where they are, but the truth is that the moment you take ownership of your choices, your habits, and your actions, you reclaim your power. Responsibility is not about blame or guilt. It is about recognizing that you are the driver of your own life. When you stop handing over control to external forces, you begin to make decisions that actually move you forward. Before 2026, this mindset must become non-negotiable if you want real results. Taking responsibility starts with the small things. It's easy to blame the world for major setbacks, but real growth happens in the details, the small daily actions, the micro decisions, the little moments where you could choose to act or avoid responsibility. Every time you own your actions instead of pointing fingers, you strengthen your ability to shape your life. It's in these moments that character is built, confidence is strengthened, and results begin to accumulate. If you fail to take responsibility for the small things, the big things will always feel out of reach. One of the most overlooked aspects of responsibility is how it affects your mindset. People who blame others create lives of limitation because they give away their power. When you consistently tell yourself that someone else is in control of your outcomes, you stop looking for solutions and stop taking initiative. Responsibility flips that script. It forces you to see what is within your power to change and act on it. Even if you cannot control every circumstance, you can control your reactions, your efforts, and your decisions. That control is more powerful than most people realize. Responsibility also demands honesty with yourself. It requires admitting when you've been wrong, when you've made mistakes, or when you've been avoiding growth. This kind of self-awareness can be uncomfortable, but it is necessary for transformation. Every person who achieves lasting success has learned to face themselves without excuses, to confront their weaknesses without shame, and to take deliberate action to correct course. Without that willingness, even the best plans and intentions will fail. The more honest and accountable you are, the more clarity you gain, and the faster you move toward the life you want. Taking responsibility is not just about self-control, it's about freedom. The moment you stop blaming external factors, you stop giving them power over your life. You begin to act instead of react, to create instead of complain, and to lead instead of follow circumstances blindly. It allows you to make proactive choices that compound over time. Each decision you own adds momentum to your life, creating a sense of agency that no external situation can take away. Before 2026, embracing this mindset will shift everything from your career to your relationships, from your habits to your emotional state. Finally, responsibility transforms your relationships and your influence. People who take ownership are trusted, respected, and followed. They set an example through action, not words. By controlling what you can, by honoring your commitments, and by showing up consistently, you inspire others and attract opportunities that align with your growth. Real change happens when your life becomes a reflection of the choices you consciously make, and the world begins to respond accordingly. Before 2026 arrives, take full responsibility for your life, your actions, your results, your future, and you will discover that true power has always been in your hands.